Spring practice is kicked off for Notre Dame football. We have some early insight into what the offensive line could look like in 2025. Let's talk about the latest and who we could be seeing up front, blocking for the likes of Jeremiah Love, CJ Carr, Kenny Minchey, and the rest of the crew. Ryan Roberts from A to Z Sports breaking down everything Notre Dame football. Folks, spring practice is upon us, which means we're going to blink our eyes very shortly. It's going to be fall camp. It's going to be the 2025 college football season. Notre Dame Fighting Irish coming off of a 14-win season and a national title appearance. Hopefully able to get over the mountaintop here very shortly. I want to talk about some early conversations we're having on the offensive line for Notre Dame. Heading into the spring, there was a question of who would be the left tackle for Notre Dame and who's going to be the right guard for Notre Dame heading into 2025. We have theorized it was either going to be one of Charles Jagasaw or Anthony Knapp at left tackle, and probably the person who doesn't win that job would end up being the front runner for the right guard spot. Well, Anthony Knapp, who is limited in spring practice, has not been obviously in this left tackle conversation because we haven't seen him in the brief and media availability that we've gotten. But over the first few practices, this is one thing that we have seen and one consistent. We have seen Charles Jagasaw playing majority of right guard, almost in his entirety. And this could just be an early conversation of who's available, who fits where, trying to make the pieces all fit together when you have a couple players limited. Even Emil Wagner's been a limited participant in some capacities as well. But the reason that you should be feeling that this might be a sign of Charles Jagasaw playing right guard for Notre Dame heading into 2025 was the media availability that we had this week with Joe Rudolph. And the media availability was centered around offensive line, but then obviously a couple questions came up about Charles Jagasaw. And he said in that conversation about him potentially playing right guard that is a spot, and he referenced the Penn State game, where you saw how dominant Charles Jagasaw can be as a butt kicker inside at right guard. And this is based upon not only what we've heard and seen so far in spring, but also some conversations I had before the spring even began. I do think that there is a love for Charles Jagasaw in at right guard, and I do believe that Joe Rudolph and parts of the staff as well believe that he could be one of the best offensive guards in all of college football. So I was hoping before the spring that Charles would get a legitimate chance at left tackle, and maybe that ends up happening. But right now, I feel very confidently that what the most likely outcome is that Charles Jagasaw is your right guard heading into the 2025 season. Left tackle will continue to be a conversation. Anthony Knapp limited. Gerby Lambert has mostly been playing right tackle so far this spring. Is he a guy, as he gains more comfort, do you shift him over to compete at left tackle with an Anthony Knapp, for instance? Today, though, if I had to make a prediction, the starting five would look like this, left to right. Anthony Knapp at left tackle, left guard Billy Schrauth, center Ashton Craig, obviously dependent upon his recovery time from his injury, right guard Charles Jagasaw, and right tackle Emil Wagner. Folks, put in the chat, am I reading too much into this? Where do you think Charles Jagasaw is going to be playing in 2025? What position? And who is the starting left tackle for Notre Dame? And as always, like the channel, hit the subscribe button, and we'll talk to you next time. Go Irish.